Good morning. This week I'm going to be reading Booktube's hot takes. So I've watched a lot of best of 2024 videos. I'm going to be reading a select few books that either I've seen other people put on their worst books of the year or things that I have never heard of that have under 10,000 ratings. We also are having a bit of a chaotic morning today because we are going to Mexico, which means a shuttle is coming to pick us up in half an hour. But before we get into all of that chaos, let me tell you about the first book that we are reading. So this one's a bit of a twofer because Sarah from Sarah Without an H, who was featured in last year's video, has done it again. She's put a book on her favorites list that other people hate, and it is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Unfortunately, Hellbent is a sequel, and I have not read the first book, which is Ninth House. It's dark academia. We have a girl going to Yale. There's a secret society. Occult things are going on, and I think we're going to hell. I've got 5 hours on a bus today, so we're gonna start Ninth House, and I'll see you guys when we get to our destination.
Before I even get into talking about this, I need to call out all you bitches who keep putting this on your worst books of the year. I need you to stop. I need you to stop.
I thought we would hang out outside and chat about Ninth House so far. Apologies for any city noise you hear. We are right on the street here. I got a new phone case, which is very exciting because mine's been broken for like a month now. We've been having such a lovely time just exploring the city. We got great food at this little restaurant just down the street. And we've just been doing a little bit of exploring. I am almost halfway through Ninth House. The consensus on both of these books was Ninth House, most people really enjoyed, and then Hellbent, most people really didn't. So Ninth House really isn't what I'm reviewing. It's just what I need to read in order to review the book that is actually the hot take. But I'm eating it up. I love it so much. I think this is one of those books where if you turn your brain off and just enjoy it, you're gonna have the best time. Alex is our main character. She is going to Yale. Her life is like not going well. This is her kind of like her last chance, her second chance at life, is she's gotten this full ride to Yale because she is going to run Lethe, the ninth house of Yale, and there's all these secret societies and they all have a different type of magic and they're very occult. The person who's supposed to be mentoring her has gone missing, and when I turn my brain off and read, I'm enjoying everything that's happening, but when I think about the book itself, there's a lot of structure I feel like we're missing. Like, it's not very clear why things are happening when they happen. I feel like we're too far into the book for me to not know what all of these houses do. I feel simultaneously like not a lot has really happened in terms of like overarching plot structure, and also that I don't really have the exposition that I need. But I'm still really enjoying this, and I think it'll still get a 4-star at the end of the day. My battery's about to die, so I'm just gonna enjoy this for the rest of the night, and I will see you guys tomorrow when we go to Mexico City. Hello my loves, welcome to La Fortuna. It's a little cloudy today, so you can't see the volcano that much, but I want to show you. How great is that view? I also owe you an update on Ninth House and Hellbent. We have just been enjoying this trip so much that I haven't really had time to come in here and update you. So as of now, I have finished reading Ninth House and I think everything really tied together in a way that I really liked. I was feeling kind of lost in the story because there were so many different storylines and side plots and things happening, and I couldn't see how any of it was connected, and then it all did come together. Like, we were in all of those different situations for a reason, and I liked how it all came together. I thought it was really entertaining. I think I'm gonna give Ninth House 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. It's definitely not a 5-star because I want more school. Like, we're at college. I want school in the book, and there just really wasn't enough of that, but it delivered on the premise. We're at secret societies, we're dealing with the occult, it's set at Yale, and it was very entertaining. I ate it up. I never wanted to stop reading it. I was always looking forward to reading it. That was Ninth House. The book we're actually reviewing is Hellbent though, so let's talk about that. I saw this 1-star review for this and this is objectively hilarious. Now, being most of the way through this book, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, it is a little bit ridiculous. This book to me feels, I don't know, the plot is so interesting for these 2 books because I feel like we're trying to do the same thing and it's just being dragged out over 2 books. And I kind of wish that it was one big book, or that I knew ahead of time, like, the arc of the story, or that things happened faster. And I'm still missing school. I want more school in here. I don't understand why there's no school in here. Book 2 is feeling a little bit like the second book in a trilogy where it just kind of feels like we're continuing the story from the first book. Like, there isn't really a new plot. I don't know. I don't have many intelligent words to say about this. I'm enjoying being in the book. Like, if I wasn't reviewing this for the channel, I think I would just be eating it up and I would be enjoying it. But when I start to analyze, like, whether or not this is a good book, I'm kind of at a loss. I definitely do like watching the way that our characters have grown and changed over the course of the 2 books, because they definitely have. You almost just fell off because it's very windy. I just was promised secret societies at Yale and I'm not getting enough secret societies at Yale. There's this whole ritual thing that just happened with, like, people turning to werewolves, and we didn't see any of it. It was just like a side plot. Like, I feel like this book should either be a lot longer or a lot shorter, and that's kind of how I'm feeling about it. Popping in here because I finished Hellbent and then never updated you on it. I'm giving it 4 stars. I think I finally have figured out what's weird to me about these books. They feel like book 2 and 3 in a series. They feel like really good books 2 and 3 in a series, but I still want to read book 1, where Alex is, like, coming to Yale for the first time and she's learning about Lethe, and she's learning all these things about how to be Dante from Darlington, and she's making friends and she's going to class. And then I want, like, the end of book 1 to be where Darlington goes missing, because I felt like in Ninth House it was too much to have all of that exposition as well as this middle of, like, oh my gosh, where's Darlington? Because then we didn't really have a lot more, like, reveals to happen once we reached Hellbent. And although I greatly enjoyed both of them, for that reason, they can't get a 5. If Lee Bardugo wants to keep writing in this series, I'm gonna keep reading them because I ate them up. The entertainment value was very high. It was just when I started to, like, analyze the book for the video that I was like, hang on, this structure and this plot seems a little bit odd. So thank you to Sarah for once again forcing me to read a book that other people put me off reading, and once again I had a great time. Okay, so now I'm gonna splice in some clips from the rest of our trip to La Fortuna. We did a lot of hiking, a lot of waterfalls, a lot of fun wildlife was seen, so we're gonna roll that and then we'll chat about the next book that we're reading in this video. And that was our trip to Mexico City and La Fortuna. Truly one of the best trips I have ever been on. I actually have so much footage from that trip that it was impossible to fit it all into this video. So if you want a play-by-play of everything that we did and the experiences that we had, I'm doing a whole separate members only video. So if you join at the Inkpot tier, we can hang out and chat about our Mexico City, La Fortuna, little vacation together. There'll be an entire dedicated video to that. Seriously though, if anyone is looking for a vacation to do, go to Mexico City. It is just the most incredible place that I have ever been. It's got absolutely everything that you would want in a vacation. The food is insanely good. You can get both really cheap food and extremely nice. We went to a restaurant that had a Michelin nod and got like a tasting menu of tacos, which was insanely good. And there's ruins to go look at, and there's so much culture and history. It's just gorgeous and fun, and we practiced our Spanish a lot, and we just had a really fantastic time. Okay, now we need to talk about our next book, which is going to be Strange Beasts. I'm gonna actually send you to me from a couple of days ago to give you the lowdown on how the first half of it went.
I loved this. I thought it was so fun. The mix of the monsters and kind of the gothic nature of Dracula with the kind of intellectual nature of Sherlock Holmes, I think is a perfect pairing. And these two ladies definitely kick some butt throughout the storyline, and I just found it very fun.
We are reading Strange Beasts. This was recommended to me by my channel member, Lena. Lena, thank you for that. Lena said that Danny Dabbles put it in her best books of 2024, which is her number 8. And apparently we're going to be getting fantasy, romance, and mystery. I am maybe about 20% of the way into this, and I completely forgot that there's supposed to be an LGBTQ romance in here. And now I'm like even more excited because now I'm doing math in my head about who's gonna get together in this book, and I'm very excited for what might be about to happen. So here's the premise. It's kind of dark academia again. I'm sensing a theme with this video. We have our main character who is a researcher, and she is an agent for this like magical spy agency situation. They have field agents and they have researchers, and she's a researcher. Except there's some stuff that went down in her family, there's some mysterious numbers that she has, and there's a series of murders that have occurred that are somehow related to that. And so now she has gone into the field and she is in the field. The funny thing about this is that our main character is connected to Dracula. Her partner on this case, she is Moriarty's daughter. So we have Sherlock Holmes and Dracula coming together in this book. I'll be honest with you, the writing is not my favorite thing that I've ever read. It's feeling maybe simultaneously over and underwritten. I just feel like this could have gone through another round of edits. It's reading just like a tiny bit fanfiction-y with the Dracula and Moriarty and that whole vibe. There's like a couple of descriptions. I'm trying to explain what about the writing is bothering me. There's a couple of descriptions that took me out of the time period because she's talking about how her hotel has a phone in it. She's saying, oh, our hotel was very luxurious. It has this, this, and this. We have our own private phones at a time where phones were not very common at all. And I was like, wait, hang on. At a time where someone in their present day wouldn't say at a time where this wasn't common because they wouldn't know that it would become common. Does that make sense? There's just a couple of little things like that that are just kind of taking me out of the story a wee bit. But overall, it seems fine. I feel like I'm gonna end up giving this 3 stars. My hopes are not super high at this point. That's my update. I'll see you later. Hello, I have updates for you. Update number 1. Look what Dan just found. I finally have a yoga mat. I'm so excited. I get to do Pilates again. Update number 2. We're making egg salad, and we also need to talk about Strange Beasts. Here are our eggs. Here's our hot plates. Let's chat. Dan found these scallions at the market. I sent him to get green onions, and he came back with these. There's no onion. I mean, they're fine. They'll work, but like, I wanted the onion piece. Have you guys ever seen scallions sold like this? Hilarious. Let's talk about Strange Beasts. Unfortunately, I did not like this one, and that's what's gonna happen when you read people's hot takes, when you read things that you've never seen before or things that other people hate. Some of them I'm not going to like, and I didn't like this. I think I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars, maybe even 2, and I want to be so clear here that I don't think there was anything wrong with this book. It just wasn't for me. The writing style wasn't my thing. I think if you are a person who genuinely loves reading fan fiction, you're gonna eat this up. The vibe and the tropes in fan fiction are here. The writing is a little bit more polished than you would find in a fan fiction. So if you're a fan fiction reader, if you tend to like books that came from fan fiction, I think you'll love Strange Beasts. Can we talk about how that's the water pressure in my house right now? Can you see that? Okay, 3 years later, we have our pot of water. That's incredibly loud, so we gotta finish talking before I can make these eggs. I was really hopeful that the romance would revive this book for me. I really wanted to root for it, I really wanted to love it, but I just didn't like it. I felt like our characters weren't trusting each other, and I just didn't really think that they were right for each other. I just didn't like it. It reads like a fan fiction to me, and if that's your thing, I think you're gonna love it. If it's not your thing, I would skip this one. Okay, that's what I thought about Strange Beasts. I'm gonna make my eggs, and then we'll chat about our last book. All right, let's talk egg salad. Look at how beautiful she looks. There's mustard, eggs, scallions. Those are really strong, by the way. I think maybe that's why the onions aren't in there. And a little bit of these tropical limes, which are a little bit sweeter than regular limes. I'm thinking I want to add a little bit of paprika and a little bit of garlic powder in here. So that's what we're gonna do. Just a little bit of paprika, a little bit of garlic. We need to talk about A Sky Full of Elephants. I am halfway-ish through this. I'm flying through it. I'm loving everything about this. So I just spilled egg everywhere. The premise of this book is one day all the white people in the world walk into the nearest body of water and drown. What's left is all the non-white people, and they kind of get to create this new world and start from scratch, which is just an incredibly interesting premise to a book. Let's try these eggs. Those are good. I'm very happy with that. I'm gonna put these in the fridge so they can marinate, and we'll eat them later. Here's what I'm loving about A Sky Full of Elephants. The writing is insanely good. It's so lyrical and poetic and strong. I don't know how else to describe it. The writing just hits so hard, and I am underlining and highlighting so many things. Let me share with you a couple of them. This is great. Her features Charlie couldn't quite settle on. She had eyes like the sun had light, a mouth like the sea had horizons, features that existed in a space that could not be described, but more effectively used as a metaphor to describe other things. Not beauty, but the variable elements that defined beauty. Just absolutely beautiful writing all the way through. I am always so frustrated when I read a book that has a really interesting, gripping premise and then the follow through isn't there, and I really think that this book is gonna check every single one of my boxes. I am absolutely eating it up. So here's what's gonna happen. I'm doing reading sprints later with channel members, and I think I'm gonna try to finish the book tonight, and then we'll just wrap everything up tomorrow. I am reading this because of Kayla from Books and Lala, who was also featured in last year's video, and I read A Little Devil in America by Hanif Durkee because of her and loved that. This one is also going incredibly. So thank you, Kayla. I can always count on you for having things that have low amounts of readers that are just absolutely exceptional. And that's that. Let's go finish this book, eat some eggs, and hang out with my besties.
And the book follows this man who has been incarcerated, and now his life has completely changed when this occurs. There's parts of it that feel like it's going to be this warm family connection, but it's also just more about the reason that this happened in the first place, shared Black consciousness and trauma, healing and community, but there's also a lot of difficulties and tension. I loved getting to learn where the title came from. I think this book had so many beautiful things to say. I thought it was fascinating, very well written, had a great time with it.
Good morning. I had a lovely time with my channel members on reading sprints last night. Had a delicious little spread of breakfast this morning from the French bakery, and I have finished reading A Sky Full of Elephants. I'm giving this 5 stars. This was so incredibly good. This book took an incredibly interesting premise and really managed to follow through on it. I'm going to compare this book to The Measure because I think they both have this idea of, in The Measure, everyone wakes up with a string at their doorstep and you can decide to open the box and look at the string, or you can decide not to, and that string tells you how long you're going to live. And it's a thought experiment, and we're in so many different people's heads and we're following so many different storylines. That book didn't work for me the way that A Sky Full of Elephants did, because I felt like I wasn't really connected to any of our characters. I felt like I wanted the book to push the boundaries more. In this type of thought experiment, if we're following multiple people, I wanted to be following the people who are doing the things at the extremes. And that's not what The Measure did for me. And this book, A Sky Full of Elephants, really focuses on this intimate story of this one family, this father and his daughter, and their experiences with this event. And this book does get sci-fi in a really satisfying way, and I really enjoyed the extent to which things were explained and also not explained. This idea of Black consciousness was so interesting to dive into. I thought it was just executed really, really well, and to have a book with such an interesting premise that then gets that follow through, it's 5 stars all day long. The writing in here is absolutely incredible. I read you a quote already. Seriously, cannot recommend this enough. I loved it. And with that, we have now read 3 of Booktube's hot takes, and I enjoyed 2 of them, didn't enjoy 1 of them. I'm gonna call that a success for this video. I love doing this series. I'll probably continue doing it every year. Inkpots, if you're watching this, the extended edition of the Mexico City and La Fortuna vlog is not finished yet, but it should be up in the next couple of days. So I'll pop something in our Discord for you guys to see, so you can go ahead and click over to that when it's up. Otherwise, for all channel members, there is a bonus video coming, hopefully in the next week, depending on how much time I can set aside to editing, which will be my birthday vlog, because I just turned 26 and Dan actually turned 27 the day after I turned 26. Our birthdays are 1 day apart. So we filmed a little birthday vlog. It's probably only about 5 minutes of footage, but that will be live for all channel members. So if you join the channel membership, regardless of what tier, this is a little bonus. Usually the lower tier doesn't get early access to videos or exclusive videos, but because we already had an exclusive video for this month, I thought it might be fun for us to just do a little bonus extra birthday vlog. So if you're interested in seeing that, that will be up for all channel members, hopefully sometime in the next week. Otherwise, that's everything that I have for you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you next week for a birthday themed video. Bye.